We got a live one today, folks. It is my birthday, September the 10th. I am now 34 years old. I have left my Jesus era, the 33-year-old stage. This will be interesting. It is a time of great transition into the next phase of my adult life, my status, as it were. And I want to be useful to you, more so than I have. I promised myself that I would make 500 episodes of this before deciding to keep going and double down or to double up, belly up, quit. So we just passed the 300 mark, so we're more than halfway there to the decision moment. I recently interviewed the man called Dr. Hypnosis. BowTiedTrance is what he also goes by on X, formerly Twitter. He's a mainstay of the news review that Scott Adams, the Dilbert creator and wonderful personal development author, does. By the way, Scott, I helped him release a new edition of the classic bestseller, Loser Think. Loser Think, How Untrained Brains Are Ruining America. It is now out in a second edition. Digital, paperback, softcover, and of course the dust-jacketed hardcover. Dr. Hypnosis had this recently that I would like you to focus on. In the world of persuasion, he says, the advantage goes to first to speak, most articulate, study those vocabulary words, best dressed, most confident, ability to alliterate and rhyme, simplicity, exaggeration, which is to say directional accuracy, something that Scott Adams coined. A good example of this is the subject of Haitians in Springfield, which is near me, by the way. And I went there to do my due diligence on the matter, and I met a political reporter doing not reporting on the ground, which was kind of funny. He said, "It's been debunked. It's been debunked." This little 4'11" man, squirrely little guy, like Nick Fuentes, but a lib. Although Nick Fuentes is a lib, so you know what I mean. In any case, Donald Trump was the first to talk about that story, sort of bring it national attention, after an anonymous poster named Captive Dreamer. He pulled some YouTube footage from a Springfield City Council where citizens were complaining about all the trouble and the problems that had been caused by the Haitian migrants being flown by the Biden-Harris administration into Springfield. 15,000 of them in a city of about 50,000 people. You can't add that many people, between 20 and 25 to 30% of your entire city population just overnight. You can't do that. 25%. You just can't do it. But they did. 30% even. But they did. The process is the punishment. Anyway, Trump was the first to speak about that. He was the most confident in his portrayal of what happened. He was simple. He exaggerated. And then lastly, visuals and visual language. So this is a list of what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 persuasion advantages that you can collect for yourself by using all of them. So Trump was the first to speak publicly from the biggest stage possible on the Haitian situation and the problem of migrants being everywhere where they don't belong in the United States, because Haitians don't lose Haitian culture. I have met Haitians. I know Haitians. I have worked with them before. They eat mud pies, like actual mud, making actual mud cakes, because food is so scarce, because their government is so corrupt, because they engaged in white genocide and ethnic cleansing during their communist revolution, which I wrote about in Unhumans with Jack Posobiec, the New York Times bestseller, which of course was endorsed by Vice President J.D. Vance, among others. He was the first to speak on the matter. Was he the most articulate or most best dressed? Maybe, but that's not really besides the point. He was certainly the most confident in his assertion. He said, they're eating the cats, they're eating the dogs, they're eating the pets of the people that live there. It sounds alliterative, doesn't it? They're eating the, they're eating the, they're eating the, and it became a song, right? And it went mega viral everywhere, all over the internet. It was amazing. So he was the first to speak. He was most confident in his delivery. There have been reports of. He simply stated the facts. It was alliterative and it was rhyme-like, and that you just auto-tune it and it's now a song. Just repeat it, and there you have a song. It was simple. Well, the complexities of Haitian culture and cuisine, and nope, just said it like it was. And then it exaggerated. Now, are all the Haitian immigrants literally eating all the pets? No. There were several reports of pets being dog napped and cat napped, and geese disappearing from the park, and alleged Haitian migrants killing ducks in the park and geese in the park. I saw some of the privately available evidence, let's say, of the capture and consumption of household pets, domesticated animals, by the Haitian immigrants and migrants, not even immigrants. They're just sort of flown in under cover of night, right into Springfield by Biden. Mayorkas, catastrophic administration that was. We need at least 4 more years of Donald J. Trump like policies to undo all the damage of that. In any case, he also had the visual and visual language, eating the dogs, eating the cats. Okay, it doesn't really get more than that. So we got first to speak, most confident, alliterative, simple, exaggerated, and visual language. 6 of the 8, 75% of the way there. In my opinion, Donald Trump horribly lost that debate. It was, in my opinion, one of the worst performances I've ever seen in a presidential debate. But that one little clip made him the winner after the fact. Completely rewrote history so that Kamala was begging for a matchup. Best 2 out of 3. Come on, best 2 out of 3. Come on. She was just begging the Trump camp for more later, hilariously. So that's the situation. So think about how you can do all of these. So first to speak. How can you be the first person to speak, or the first to speak on an issue, introducing it? You get the first mover advantage. The first to release a new product. Remember how the $100 million models guy, Alex and Layla Hormozi, he claimed to have had the first ever $100 million book launch with all the upsells in his funnel. You buy the book. No, then you buy the course. Then you buy the membership. Then you buy the coaching. Then you buy this. And suddenly you've spent $7,000, right? He allegedly sold 2.5 million copies. But across all of the upsells, that's an average of what? You do the math. 100 divided by 2.5 million copies. Okay, so he did some upsells. He did some upsell maxing in there. Now, is it true? It's believable. But the fact that he claims to be the first to have ever had a $100 million book launch. Persuasion. Most articulate. I'm not quite so sure about this one with Donald J. Trump, but I will say, when he spoke at the Bitcoin conference, he sounded deeply knowledgeable about the crypto guys and what they care about. But it's possible that he just pulled up ChatGPT, or he had one of his assistants do so, and say, give me 3 things to say that make me sound smart about crypto and like I know what I'm talking about. And so he used the in-group language, the proper vocabulary to come across articulately. So there's shortcuts here. And that's in my opinion. I don't know that to be certain, but that's my opinion. Best dressed, he's always wearing a suit. Always. He's always wearing the same suit. You don't see him in these goofy looking white tennies with a gray or blue polo and khakis like Obama or Joshua. Yeah, best dressed. This also, by the way, is by most of the time you see me wearing a collared shirt. I'm always wearing a collared shirt, actually. I pulled that off today. This is golf, okay? Shut up. And wearing a tie, wearing a jacket. You saw me in The Observer. I don't look like a typical ghostwriter. I look like a legend. I look like the last ghostwriter. Which, by the way, is an angle I'm going to play off. But the fact that AI is here, we don't need ghostwriters anymore. We just need editors, human editors, to kind of fix up AI output. So I'm going to be first to speak, and be called the last ghostwriter. Watch this space. Most confident. That's one of the reasons I do this show, by the way, is to practice my polishing, my confidence, my presentation, my speaking of things as absolutely true. Not, well, I think this is what's in the news, in my opinion, and nope. Can it? Rhyme. I use a lot of rhyming and alliteration in these episodes. I can't think of anything right now, but if I did, you'd have a cow. Bow wow. Okay, that was awful, but you laughed. Simplicity. That's a good one. That's a good one. See what I mean? I said nothing and I taught you the lesson of simplicity. I know, Graham, you laughed at that one. Exaggeration, directional accuracy. Am I really the last ghostwriter? This is the two of them coming together. Like try to blend them together, pick them at random. Make a game of it. Gosh, make flashcards of this crap. Oh shoot, that's a great way to actually teach my kids. I'm gonna do that totally. And then come up with potential messages and examples. Wow. Yeah, I'm gonna make flashcards of this. That's great. I'm going to do that right now as soon as I'm done with this. Happy birthday, Joshua. Exaggeration, directional accuracy. Yeah, we just talked about that one. Visuals and visual language. I like to do this, and I had a demonstration the other day about, remember that ocean? I said, imagine this, and you're seeing this, and I'm using that present progressive type language of what's happening, even though it's not, right? He could have talked about the sophistication of immigration policy in Alejandro Mayorkas. He just said, no, they're eating the cats and they're eating the dogs. You know, that's it. That's it. Simplicity wins. Happy birthday, Joshua. Thank you for coming to Daily Persuasion. About 190 something more episodes, and if you like it, comment, share. If not, well, then